there was a post on Craigslist for people to pose for an art school in rural France. A few days later, I was standing on West 115th in a torn nightgown on a break from rehearsing Dr. Faustus, and the message came. I had the job. The art school turned out to be run by a nice American couple, wonderful artists. Every morning, I'd get up on the stand, naked. During the breaks, I'd put on a bathrobe, get a cup of tea. Dave was one of the artists taking the course. Pretty quickly, I knew there was something about him that was different and special. I remember thinking, whatever, he's from Australia, that's not a relationship that would make any sense. While I posed, I listened to the teacher's instructions to the artists, learning about the light, or I recited monologues and long poems in my head, especially when the pose became painful. With the nakedness, I was very self-conscious for about 30 seconds on the first day, and then it just didn't matter. I had to avoid getting a suntan in the months before because it interfered with the lines of the body. There were times when I had my period, but the poses were not so vulgar that you worried much. And I was happy to confront the whole idea of vulnerability. I was interested in whether it had to feel vulnerable to be naked in front of strangers. It was another kind of performance. Even though everybody is looking at you and drawing you, you are giving yourself in service to someone else's practice. Most of the time it felt good, though once this guy did a painting elaborately detailing my belly fat, all dimply, that was hard, to see that picture. Other times I felt humbled by their honesty. It helped me get past so much body shame. It felt healthy to be under their gaze. An artist's gaze. The smell of oil paint to this day is a joy to me. It triggers a really intense sense memory of falling in love and finding my way. The art school was in a small village near the Loire Valley. One bakery, one grocery store. A painter called Krista and I became obsessed with the local food. We called ourselves Food Club. We'd go to a country market each Friday in the next town. There was an old lady with a pushcart holding a tiny fridge in which she had balls of butter that she'd hand-beaten with crunchy crystals of sea salt. The artichoke seller would recite poetry as he cut into the spiny sweet hearts. The oyster guy would see us coming and say, "Try these." Oysters the size of your fist, eels fresh grilled, green zebra tomatoes with yellow stripes, and old local guys sitting around in fedoras drinking rosé at 9 in the morning. Food Club grew. Everyone came. A Belgian absinthe connoisseur got us onto these teeny tiny prawns that you eat shell and all, sautéing them in butter and garlic. Someone else would be flipping crepes. Cheese out on the windowsill because it smelled so strong you couldn't have it indoors. Dave would shuck the oysters. We'd eat, play badminton, take a nap, go for a hike in the hills, come back, eat some more. That was how we spent Fridays. My God, of course we fell in love. Dave walked me home after dinner every night through the village. We'd stroll along the ancient road looking at the moon over the valley, and I kept thinking, maybe we'll kiss. But then he'd just leave me at my gate. He was so decent. I think he felt that hitting on the art model is kind of a dick move. He didn't want to be that guy. The sky was getting very dark one afternoon, late in August. I walked down the road past the old donkey, Fripon, to these ancient brambly blackberry bushes. I was picking blackberries to make a tart. A big grey storm was coming. I was getting bloody fingers. I thought, I love him. Isn't that silly and strange? He came home with me that night, and we never spent another night apart until I left France in the autumn. Months passed. We stayed in touch long distance. I got a gig posing in a studio in Santa Fe in March, and Dave came out to be with me. We rented a little adobe house and walked through deep snow to the studio every day. They invited him to sit in as a guest artist now and then when there was a spare seat. In one of those sessions, he did a really sweet, quick drawing of me, and the collector we met there offered Dave $400 for it. We needed the money.